we're going to be going over the difference between one of the most contested talent points in Aldrachi Reaver, and that is going to be Army unto itself, and then you're going to have Uncorruptible Spirit, and that is going to be either getting the healing from those orbs. You always want to pair that with the other talent that's in there. You can generally choose between the Sigil of Misery talent or the talent to receive 10% more healing from your orbs there. So you want to make sure that you're using those in conjunction with each other if you do take the spirit one. So if you're looking at just any type of a mob and you use your Fellblade, you are going to get this buff on you that will give you basically a 10% DR every time you hit Fellblade for 5 seconds. So having the option to always DR yourself for 10 seconds every single time you Fellblade is very good. And so now with our Soul Fragment ones, we'll get ourselves a Soul Fragment. If you use your Sigil of Flame, it will always give you one. But when you take your Sigils from now on, and we'll meld that guy, we'll cast him out of there, it puts an overshield on us. Mine doesn't show it very well, but it shows right here in this corner here. So now that it's gone, if we get any other right here, I'll get a little blue shield. So you get a tiny bit of a shield from these right there. And so you basically go over your health pool a little bit. So it can make you kind of live things, but also just having a random, not so much even a random 10% DR, this Fellblade, one cool thing that you can do is you can have this interaction. You can Fellblade to the target, and then you Vengeful Retreat, and then it will reset your Fellblade. So that is what you can pretty much, in conjunction, you will always take that talent with this to guarantee the longest uptime on your army unto itself. So if you have this, you always need to make sure that you're taking, where is Vengeful Retreat resets the cooldown of Fellblade. So if you have army unto itself, I pretty much always run Unhindered Assault at all times, no matter what, just because another Vengeful Retreat in your... this always felt very clunky to me. You Vengeful Retreat, like, back-to-back. I'm not really sure. We don't even really run too many Vengeful Retreat things. I don't really run the inertias. So, overall, I think that taking Army into itself is probably going to be slightly harder to play overall, but Uncorruptible Spirit is just completely passive. You're always going to have these shields, and then you can pair it up with Shattered Restoration. The problem with this is I see so much value in Improved Sigil of Misery that it's almost crazy. The value of Improved Sigil of Misery is just off the charts. You get a stun that doesn't DR with anything. More packs often than not. I don't know, maybe I just have to use it more often than others, but having this available for like what feels like every pack, I always love having Improved Sigil of Misery. So that's one good thing going against it, because if you run Incorruptible Spirit, it's fine without the Shattered Restoration, but it's better with the Shattered Restoration just because it kind of scales on itself. And then Improved Sigil of Misery, just better for overall CC. Let's wrap it up by talking about what people are running and what I was actually running in just my direct recommendation. In Theater of Pain, I ended up running the Incorruptible Spirit, and then in the 14th Floodgate, I ran Army Unto Itself, and I think both of them have value in a lot of different spots. So if you have a dungeon where you're going to get a lot of rot damage over time, I think it's completely fine to make sure you get that shield damage, but obviously make sure you pair it up with your talents. You got to make sure that if you're running the Army Unto Itself, if you have the Vengeful Retreat, you need to have the reset, so it will give you a Fellblade as soon as you Vengeful Retreat, so you can pretty much on demand always have a Fellblade even if you used it out of turn. There's a couple different players doing Uncorruptible Spirit. I'd say most of them are doing Uncorruptible Spirit at the top. So right now I will be playing a lot of Army because I see the value in some of these big one-shots, and if you're unfamiliar with the keys, I think it's huge value just constantly having a shield and overhealing a little bit more, so your effective health pool is higher. In kind of finalizing all of it, if you're gonna have like you're not exactly sure what the dungeons are or what you want to be doing in them, you should run Incorruptible Spirit. If you know that you're going to be getting one shot in this raid boss, or you're going to be getting one shot in this exact fight, the healer always has a hard time in this fight. Getting a on-demand 10% DR is very good, especially with front loading it with like a pull and the tank doesn't have much aggro. Getting a straight 10% DR plus blur, wow, that's a lot right there, and you're pretty tanky for that time. And then overall, it will just probably make it easier for your healer to heal you during a key if you are going to be running something like the Incorruptible Spirit. I hope it helped, guys.